Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's mukbang, I am having food that I really haven't had before in a mukbang, and you can thank Sarah for this mukbang because she picked out everything for me. Like, we were kind of talking together about what food I should do, and she ended up deciding on all these things, and all of them sounded really good. So I was like, okay, we got a mukbang. She loves lemon bars so much. I love them too. Like, I do love them, but Sarah's like obsessed with lemon bars. So I'm having lemon bars today. I'll put the recipe in the description. And then I'm also having cornbread, which is not homemade technically. I got this in the Krusteaz box. I like boxed cornbread though, okay? So this is boxed cornbread. And then also fried chicken, which I also have not had in a mukbang besides. I think I did KFC once. But besides that, like, I haven't really done like fried chicken. So I'm also having fried chicken today. I'm just gonna start eating. I'm gonna have cornbread first because I've been craving cornbread forever. So I also have some honey butter that I melted. It's a lot. But I love dipping my cornbread in it, so I'm just gonna put that right here. And I'll move it after, but yeah. Okay. This cornbread is like so soft and crumbly. It's so good. Oh my gosh. I forgot how good cornbread is. I wanted to eat before I got into talking about what I'm going to talk about because I was hungry, but now I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about. I wanted to do another like true crime conspiracy type video, but I couldn't find anything that really caught my attention that was a big thing to talk about because usually my conspiracy videos are like an hour long. So because I couldn't find one story that was big enough for me to talk about, I'm going to talk about two. One is about the crying boy paintings and how there's a curse behind these paintings that are like of little crying boys. And then the other one is about a serial killer who hexed people who basically had to do with his imprisonment. And then they actually all died. So I'm gonna go into those two stories today. They're just kind of like creepy, fun things to talk about. Like, I don't know, I love talking about this kind of stuff, so I hope you guys like it too. Before I get into it, I'm gonna try the lemon bars because I've been wanting to try these. My mom used to make these when we were younger, so it's like kind of nostalgic. I love how the lemon part on top is like so gooey and chewy. And then the crust is like shortbread. So it's like buttery and lemony. Mmm. Love both these things so far. Next, I'm gonna try the chicken. But first, let me introduce the crying boy paintings, and then I'll get to the serial killer after. Let's talk about this. So basically these paintings, like I said, are literally pictures of crying boys or paintings of crying boys. They're creepy in and of themselves. Like, I don't know why people would hang these up in their homes, truly. It was a popular thing, I guess, in like the 50s to 80s before like the curse was discovered and then people started like throwing these paintings out. But yeah, like, why did people have these in their homes? I don't know. But yeah, basically they were painted by this painter named Bruno Amadio, and then he went under the artist name. You know how artists will have like fake names of Bragolin. So the story goes that he was this painter in Spain and France, and he used to paint pictures of these crying orphan boys, which is a little sadistic. But anyways, he's painted like hundreds of these little kids, and there was this one boy who he was going to go paint, and the boy was basically being taken care of in like this orphanage which had a priest. And when Bragelin, the painter, was going up to paint this boy, the priest went up to him and was like, you don't want to paint this kid, or you don't want anything to do with this kid. He is cursed, like fires follow him wherever he goes, because apparently this kid had accidentally started a fire that killed both of his parents, and so that's why he was an orphan. Basically, the painter did not heed the priest's warning and painted the boy anyways, and then his studio ended up catching on fire soon after. So that's how the story goes about, like, I'll get to what happened in a second, but like that's the story behind the paintings and like the backstory. Although I don't know how accurate it is, the next part of the story is 100% accurate. It is really creepy if you believe that story, because what I'm about to tell you next will make your skin crawl, because it made my skin crawl for sure. Before I get into it, I'm gonna take a bite of this chicken. Perfectly crunchy. Dude, where was the bone in that? Are these boneless? I don't know. This is like, I don't even know what this is. It just looks like a piece of skin, maybe. Yum. Okay, this one looks like it has a bone. Maybe. I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's bones in here, guys. I don't know what I ordered. It was from this Asian place. I'll put the name in the description. It's good though. And honestly, I prefer it without bones, but I'm just like surprised. Oh. There's kind of a bone there. I'm not very well versed in the fried chicken world, or like chicken in general, so forgive me, but it's still good. That's all I'll tell you. So basically, the curse was realized in the 1980s in England. I forget exactly where, because I'm not super familiar with the names of the cities in England, but basically in England, a couple's home burned down. Their name was Ron and Mary Hall. And like, I don't even know what started the fire, but basically their home like completely gone, like everything burned to ashes. The inside just totally smoked out. One thing that was left was the picture that they had hanging in their living room of the crying boy. So apparently everything was all black, like the walls and everything, and then you could still see the crying boy's face. Like, that's how little the fire affected it. So basically, the Hall couple blamed the crying boy painting for the fire because Ron Hall's brother was a firefighter, and when Ron told his brother what had happened, I guess his brother and another firefighter, like, realized that there had been several cases of other fires where the crying boy painting had been left. unscathed. So the firefighters confirmed basically that there are multiple cases of homes with crying boy paintings where the entire home is burned, and then the crying boy painting like will just not have burned at all and is totally fine. So when the connection was made, like when Ron Hall's brother and Ron and Mary all made the connection that there's like other fires with this happening, they called it into the Sun, which was basically like a tabloid newspaper. And so the Sun started reporting on it. And when the Sun reported on it, they got so many responses from people saying that they had the same thing happen to them. So not only are firefighters saying that they recognize this happening in multiple cases, but then you're telling me that people are writing into the Sun and being like, yeah, the same thing happened to me where my house burned down and this boy painting is still there. So the Sun was the one who found out about the painter who was first creating these paintings. So they reported on that as well and basically came up with the theory that this boy is upset that his parents died. So these crying boy paintings are cursed, and so they cause fires in your home basically because this little boy is supposedly getting revenge. I would absolutely, you cannot pay me money to have one of these in my house. Like, I would never. So this is just a short list of people who are confirmed to have had fires in their home, and then the crying boy painting is left unscathed. So a woman named Dora Mann said that her house burned down 6 months after she purchased the painting. Sandra Kasky said she and her sister-in-law both acquired the painting and then both their homes burned down. Brian Parks destroyed the painting after he found it unscathed in his living room after a fire. And then Jane McCutcheon said that she was cleaning her kitchen when she saw that her drapes were on fire. So her and her whole family were able to escape, but the house was still destroyed, besides the painting of the crying boy in their living room. And I guess when the firefighters came to her home, they literally said, oh no, not another one. Like, not another one of these paintings. Like, so I guess she destroyed it too, which, yeah, I would too. Ron and Mary lived in Rotherham, and so the chief of the fire department started compiling a list of other cases where, like, the same thing happened. And he literally came up with 50 different cases, and that's not all of them. Like, there has to be more. And so when the Sun started reporting on it, they eventually offered to have people send in their crying boy paintings, and they would destroy them for people because people were like trying to burn these paintings and it wasn't working. Like, there's videos online of people trying to burn the crying boy painting and it does not work. And other people who have like studied this curse have said that the paintings are fire retardant because of something that's on the paintings to protect them or something. But it's like, okay, well, why hasn't this been reported of other paintings? Like, why aren't other paintings always surviving fires as well, you know? Like, I'm one of those people who, like, I don't really believe in ghosts. Like, I'm never really scared of paranormal movies, for example. That kind of stuff just doesn't really freak me out because I can't see it or I've never experienced it. So, like, a serial killer is way more scary to me because, like, the chances of me getting killed by a serial killer versus a ghost, probably gonna get killed by a serial killer. So, basically, this kind of stuff doesn't really freak me out, but I just can't think of an explanation really aside from the fire retardant paintings, which, like I said, other paintings and would always be surviving fires, and like you don't really hear about that happening. So I just can't really think of like an explanation that for sure without a doubt explains away how this is happening. So when I was reading about this, I was so freaked out. I was also smoking at the same time, so I get like very paranoid sometimes, and I was like, fuck. Like I was just like, this is not okay. What does this mean? I don't know how much I even believe that it's real because it seems foolish, but like I kind of low-key believe it. And if it is real, what scares me about curses is that, and stuff like that, it's like you can't fight it, you know? Like I could fight a serial killer. See, I'm like flipping it. Like I was scared of the serial killer. Now I'm like more scared of the curse, because you can fight a serial killer. You cannot fight a curse. I don't know how you would. I know in movies, like, they always end up removing the curse, but in real life, I just know I'd be fucked for life. Like, there's no way I could remove it from myself. I'm gonna dip it in some honey butter. Judge me if you want. I should do different food more often because this is low-key kind of fun. Like, I never have fried chicken. So I think that my camera stopped recording while I was talking about my next story. So let me just try to remember what I said. Basically, my second story is, I think, creepier than the first one because all of this stuff is confirmed. So you know how with the little boy paintings and the orphan, like that story is not 100% confirmed. It was just reported. Like it could be made up, but it still freaks me out. But this one is a lot freakier to me because it's all, like, it all actually happened. And it's basically about a serial killer who put a hex or a curse on everyone who was involved with him getting captured or eventually caught. And it actually worked. Like, I mean, technically it could have been just a weird coincidence that the people that he put a hex on died, but literally 5 out of 6 of them died within 1 year of him putting the hex on them. So, I mean, like, I don't know, like, how coincidental that is. So it for sure freaked me out. Basically, the guy's name is Jake Bird, and he might be one of the most prolific serial killers in the United States, which makes him extra scary because I've never heard of this case before. But apparently when he was actually eventually caught, he kept confessing to different murders. And so he eventually confessed to 44 different murders. So he is like a confirmed serial killer and also maybe a warlock. I don't know. This happened in the late 1940s and it happened in Tacoma, Washington, which I literally was born like 15 minutes from Tacoma, and I'm surprised that I've never heard of this case because you would think that it'd be like a thing in Washington that people knew about, but I've never heard of this before. So basically this guy's name is Jake Bird, and he rode the railways growing up. Like, I guess he was an orphan, or maybe he was just homeless after he left his home, like at age 19. But basically he just spent most of his life riding the railways or railroad and trying to find work in different towns, and that's where he would like kill people. It's like every day, like he's murdered many people in different states because he traveled a lot, and so he'd always be in a different state and then like murder someone there. But eventually he got off at the end of the line in Tacoma and he decided to stay there, I guess. So fast forward to 1947 and Jake Bird decides that he is going to murder 2 people again, 2 women. And he basically enters their home in Tacoma and kills them with an axe. It was a widow. Her name was Bertha Clutt, I think. And then her daughter was named Beverly June. Bertha was 45, Beverly June was 17. He killed both of them with an axe. And he was caught because neighbors heard their screams, called the police. And when the police got to the scene, he was still there, like covered in blood. And then he tried to run away, but they caught him. So basically, he's in jail at this point. Then he goes on trial and is found guilty. I was thinking it's crazy how fast things used to go back in the day, because like I said, this was like late 1940s, and his trial was like super quick after his arrest, and his trial only lasted 3 days too, and then he was found guilty and sentenced to death, like all within like a month. It's just crazy how fast things happen then. Like now I feel like everything like legally takes forever. That's like not really the point of the story. So basically, yeah, he's sentenced to death by hanging, which is also crazy that they used to do that. And after he was found guilty, the judge asked him if he would like to make a statement. And so he addressed the court for like 20 minutes, I guess. And he basically was complaining, this is kind of relevant, he was basically complaining the whole time that he wasn't able to represent himself. So he's angry at his defense lawyer. I think he blames his defense lawyer for like getting found guilty and having the death sentence. So he babbles about that for 20 minutes. And then at the end of his spiel, he says something very creepy. Just wait a sec. He said, "All of you who have anything to do with my case will be punished. I am putting the Jake Bird hex on you. Mark my words, you will die before I do." No one took it seriously. Can't blame them. If I was in a courtroom and some crazy was like, "I'm hexing you," I'd be like, okay. But then people started dying very shortly after. The judge who sentenced him was the first to die. He died less than a month after sentencing him. Less than a month. And I guess the judge died of a heart attack, but less than a month after he sentenced him to death. I mean, come on, that's very coincidental. Okay, that piece is kind of dry. I'm going to read off my cheat sheet again. Okay, so next was Bird's defense lawyer. Like I said, he was bitter at him because he thought he should have represented himself. The defense lawyer also died of a heart attack. The police officer who recorded Bird's confession died of a heart attack. The police officer who was involved with capturing him, like at the scene of the crime where he murdered the widow and her daughter, he died of a heart attack. And then the court clerk at the trial who like records the happenings and proceedings or whatever died of pneumonia. All 5 of those died within a year of Bird getting sentenced. And then while Bird was in prison, like waiting to be executed, his prison guard also died of a heart attack. So that's 6 people, all that could be construed as wanting Bird's demise. I think that's what he said. He said, "All of you who have anything to do with my case will be punished." And I guess whenever Bird was asked about like the fact that people were dying of his hex, he would just smile creepily and recite a Bible verse, which weird. Yeah, that's the case of Jake Bird, or the hex of Jake Bird. He was eventually hanged, too. And then like 100 people went to go see his hanging, because hangings were public then. I think I'm gonna have one more bite, or one more thing of cornbread. This is always what happens at the end of my, like, it's all cornbready. Used to happen to me when I was a kid too. Okay, now I'm gonna finish the mukbang with the rest of this lemon bar, and then I'm gonna be finished. Yum. So that is it for today's video. Let me know if you liked like the smaller stories. I know it's different from my usual like conspiracy videos, but I kind of liked it because then it's like I'm not talking about the same thing the entire video. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely loved the food. Shout out to Sarah. She picked out some great items for me to eat, or great food ideas for me to try. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I think that's all I have to say. So I will just see you in my next video.